What you guys, got another video here for you. Now, if you've got an old laptop lying around like this one, this is an old Toshiba Satellite. They're pretty robust laptops, and if you've got one of these lying around, then you may want to get it out and give it an upgrade, because it's worth upgrading these older systems because they are still usable in today's market. Now, this has got an i5 processor in it. Was in the era of Windows 7, so it come pre-installed with Windows 7 on here, but basically I got this one pretty cheap. It's got an i5, I think it's either second or third gen i5, I'm not too sure, I'll have to check it when I get to the desktop. But basically it's got a bit of cosmetic damage here which we can sort out at a later date if I wanted to, and that's an easy fix. But basically what I want to do is give it a new lease of life and make it a bit faster. And how we can do that is by giving it a memory upgrade. I've already installed Windows 10 on it and upgraded to Windows 10. I've now going to install this memory here, which is 8 GB of crucial memory. There's got 4 inside here already, and I'm going to stick 8 in there, which will now make that 12. If I wanted to take the other 4 out and make it 16 GB total, I could do that. This board will accept it, but I'm going to leave it at 12. That's good enough for what I need. The next thing I'm going to do is chuck in an SSD, and this is just a pretty cheap and affordable SSD. Because it's an older laptop, I'm not really going to chuck a load of money at it, but basically we've got a 530 megabytes per second reads, and also 560 megabytes per second reads and 530 megabytes per second writes on this one. So we're going to put that in here. It does come with a terabyte storage on this drive, so I'm going to remove that and put that SSD in there, so it's going to lose half its storage. Now, if I did want to keep the storage, there is a way of going about doing this, and I've showed you this before. Basically, you can use something like this, and this will basically replace the CD-ROM drive with one of these drives here, and you can put the storage into there if you wanted to, and make that a storage drive. You would lose your actual DVD-ROM drive there, but if you wanted to use that method, you could do. And you may be saying, well, I do like to have my DVD-ROM drive. Well, you can still do that also, because you can use something like this, which is an external a DVD-ROM drive there, and use something like that, okay? And that means you've now got your 1 terabyte of storage on here, and a 512 gigabytes of SSD on there, which is going to make it super fast, plus 12 gigabytes or 16 gigabytes of memory if you upgrade that with an i5 processor, which will bring this up to the modern day. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to power this on, and we're going to put the timer on and see how slow it is. Now, it has got Windows 10 on here, so it hasn't got Windows 7, but I just wanted to show you. So I'm going to power this on and put the timer on, and we'll see how long that takes to boot up. And I'm not going to think it's going to be too fast. It will take a bit of time because it's got an older type drive in there, which is your mechanical drive, and already it's taking quite a while. So this is why people tend to get rid of their laptops, is because of the speed it takes to boot up and just general slowness. And this because the memory has been reduced. There's not a lot of memory inside here. And we'll let this load in. It's still going, as you can see here. It's taking forever to load up. Now, we're not loaded up yet. We just need it to get to the desktop and load in all of the apps. Now, there's not a lot of apps on here, so it shouldn't take too long. But as you can see, there's quite a massive difference so far in the boot up time. It's taking forever. Hopefully this will speed up. And just want to give you a true example of what this is about. So, I mean, I could have just switched it all out and then just booted it up, and you would have just seen the speed of it. But I wanted to show you. So now we're still loading in the stuff down the bottom here. As you can see here, we're pretty much done here. Okay, we'll just call this done. So we'll call that done. Okay, it's probably a couple of little bits still loading in. There we go. It's still going. So basically, we'll be around about 1 minute and 40 because it's still loading some stuff in down here. As you can see, still loading. There you go. It's still loading in. It's now finally finished. So it's actually still going. So what we'll do is I'll call that, say, 140 then. Okay. Okay, so what I want to do here is do a sequential read and write on this drive. So I'm just going to start this off. And this is on the mechanical drive, so it's not the SSD yet. We've not updated the laptop yet. I just want to see the sort of speeds we're going to get. And they're going to be pretty slow because it's a mechanical drive inside this laptop. So I'm just going to let this run. So we've got 97.88 for the reads, and also writes is 93.45, which is super slow. I mean, that is a lot of the reasons why people replace their laptops and get rid of them, and they will just go and get a newer, more modern one, and they still sometimes have a mechanical drive in them, but this is what you're going to be up against, this sort of slow speeds. So what we'll do is I'll quickly get the processor to tell you what it is, and then I'll replace all the stuff inside here and give it a boost and see what the speeds we get. So this is the actual CPU here. You can see we have 4 gigabytes of DDR3, which is 1600, and the CPU, it's got a HD graphics 4000, so it's not the greatest graphics in the world. It's not going to be a gaming system, that's for sure, but it's going to be ideal for just tutorial stuff. And also the CPU is an i5 3210M, and that's what the i5 is inside there. So let's go ahead and get this updated, and we'll see what sort of speeds we get. Okay, so let's get this panel undone. Now I've put this box here because there is the Windows license code right here, so I just wanted to cover that up. I could put some tape on it, but it's just going to be easier for me to do it this way. So let's just undo this screw, and let me see if I can get this open. There we go. So that's just one simple install of RAM, and remove this and replace this. Now you also may see here there is a light flashing, which means there is power still on this. It's still running power through here. So it's a good idea to remove the battery or completely shut it down. Just remove the battery. It's going to be the easiest thing. Okay, so let's do the memory first. Okay, that's the memory done. This will just pull out here, and there's the drive. If you want to destroy these and get rid of this stuff, you can do. It's very simple. This is just give this a clout with an hammer, and it will break everything inside here. You can do that with laptop drives. You won't be able to get away with that with a normal 3.5-inch drive. Now again, as I mentioned before, if you wanted to, you could literally use something like this if you wanted to use this as storage, and this would then slot into position inside here. You would have to remove this from there. Let me just quickly do this for you. So I'm just going to quickly remove this from here. So get this removed. There we go. So now we've got the screws removed. It's only the screws that are stopping it from getting inside here. So if I wanted to, I could literally just slot this into its position here, like so. I'll slot that into its position and then slide that into the CD-ROM drive here, which is just going to be a simple case of releasing the screw and slotting this out, and you should be good to go from there. but I'm not going to be using this at all. So what I want to do is just get the solid state drive. So I'm going to just get this piece of foil, put that back on there, because there is no real hard drive cage on this. It's just this little tiny bit of foil here. So I'll just add this back in and just put this back on. It's a simple case of just putting the screws back in, really, and reversing the whole thing here. So it's pretty straightforward stuff. There we go. And I'm just going to slot that back in. And this will drop down and then push in, and that should be in there nice and tight. There we go. That's in there now. There we go. So what I'm going to do is put the battery back in, and then we can put our Windows 10 on and boot back up. Just put the plastic thing back down. And there we go. It's all ready to go. So I'm just going to flip this over and get this booted up. Okay, so I've booted up to my USB flash drive, which has Windows 10 on it, and what I'm going to do is install Windows 10 on the new solid state drive. So I'm going to go ahead and install this now. So that's Windows 10 installed. So what I'm going to do now is shut it down and we'll do a quick boot. Okay, so that's now ready to go. So what we've got a cold boot here, which I'm going to do, and we're going to start this off. So I'm going to quickly start her up and start the timer going. And we'll see how long that takes. As you can see, a massive improvement already. And we're at the desktop. That's already loaded in. So pretty fast, as you can see here. And with that speed difference there, it just means that you would be able to get much more use out of this laptop than you would have done previously without that drive. And it was probably around about 14 seconds or 15 seconds. So that's the improvement here, over 1 minute and 40 compared to 18 seconds. A massive, massive improvement. And if anyone see that, they will probably keep this laptop and use it for a bit longer, because obviously there's no point in changing it once you've upgraded all those components. So let's go ahead and do the read and write test on the drive. Let's go ahead and get Crystal Disk Mark on here, and we can run that sequential reads and writes, and this will show us what the speed differences are compared to before. They're around about 85-90 or something like that, if I remember rightly, for the reads and writes, and already, as you can see, a massive improvement. And as you'd expect, we're still getting 525.3 reads, and we'll check the writes in a second. And that's the difference between solid state drives and mechanical drives. There's a massive big difference. So it's just going to do the writes test now, and then we can see what the final result is. Now remember, this laptop is a very old generation i5, and it just goes to show you they can still handle modern day tasks with this type of upgrade. So if you've got one of these old laptops that's an i5 or a decent laptop, then don't throw it out. Get it upgraded and enjoy using it. You can even chuck Linux on it if you want to. And there we go. We've got some results there for you. 533.4 reads, and also we're getting 513.6 writes, and that may change by a little bit every now and again when you run it, not by much. But that's pretty much it. Anyway, that's about it for this video. I hope this one's been useful to you. My name has been Brian from briteccomputers.co.uk. That's basically how you can upgrade your old laptop and make it much faster by changing out some RAM and also an SSD. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Thanks for your continued support. Bye for now. Now, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the big red subscribe button on my YouTube channel and hit the bell notification button next to that to be notified when we upload new videos.